We are back. This is podcast 129, episode number 9. I am Hunter Waldrop, and he is Jake Stinchcomb, live from the Peach State. And Jake, how are we doing today, brother?
Good, man. Excited to preview week 3. Already here. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. You blink your eyes and you go from week 0 to week 3, and man, I'm very excited. There's some under the radar games, not a lot of like ranked versus ranked matchups this week, but we do get our first Big 12 Friday night action that they are introducing this year. I know the Big 10 and Big 12 are both doing some Friday night games this year. We get our first Big 12 in conference Friday night game. That's going to be exciting to look forward to on Friday. You got Arizona, I should say, rather, taking on Kansas State. But let's talk some week 3 and a little bit of NFL 1. But first, let's get that advertising out of the way, brother.
Yes, sir. As always, go like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, podcast 129. And then we are on X, we are on Instagram, and we are on TikTok now. Trying to get some more TikToks out there for everybody to view. So if you miss an episode, you can take a look. And if you just want to listen, you're in the car, turn it on, Apple Podcast or Spotify. So go give us a shout.
Greatly appreciate Jake is working very hard on trying to get this talk up and going. I got to give him credit. I'm over there running the Instagram. We both take turns on the X, but we would greatly appreciate if you interacted with us on social media. I mean, that'd be a great way. I got some DMs this week on Instagram, believe it or not. So, but yeah, we greatly appreciate if you followed us on socials. It means a lot to us. Please keep up the interaction and leave a comment on the YouTube. I need to see some more comments on YouTube. Tell me how stupid my take is or how much you agree with us. We would love to get interactive with you. Thank you for everything you do. But now it is time for First and 10. Give it up. He said he has a good one today. I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite one yet. So I was sitting in class today, obviously not paying attention and on my computer getting ready for today, thinking of a First and 10. Yeah. And I was like, what if me and Hunter just stay on the screen or just turn the First and 10 graphic on and we do the BDGE of the day? Have you done it? Do you know what it is, right? BDGE?
Yeah, I know what the BDGE trivia is, but I have not done the trivia today.
Well, you want to run through it?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up on my other screen if you don't mind.
Yeah, so while he does that, it's Yeehaw Backs. Name every running back drafted out of Texas, Texas A&M, or Oklahoma since the 2010 NFL draft. Okay. And there is about, 4, 8, 12, 15 guys. So when I got on, I was like, I'm going to save this because this will be good.
How about we work on this one together? How about that?
That's what I'm saying. We're going to work on it together. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I could not do a BDGE trivia without actually looking at it. So
yeah.
We're going to have to get it pulled up. Explain this to podcast listeners very, very, I don't know. We have to do it in order? Or
if there's a way for you to share your screen, that would be cool.
I know. Let's see. Share screen.
All right, guys, Editor Tyler here. If you're listening to this and not watching it on YouTube, go ahead and skip to about 11:45 so you don't have to listen to these two dumbasses fumble over trivia for 10 minutes. Appreciate you guys for listening.
There we go.
All right. Yeah, there it is. This is the BDGE trivia of the day. Holy crap, I'm glad you brought that up. Learning something new. So for those listening on podcasts, this would be a lot easier to follow on YouTube. But pretty much like Jake said, name everybody back drafted out of Texas, Texas A&M, or Oklahoma since the 2010 draft. And the logo on our screen represents the team that drafted them. 2024 rookies are not included. I was about to say because Jonathan Brooks definitely should have been on here. But, all right. Here we go. Number 1, Bijan Robinson out of Falcons 2023.
Damn, I just realized that Jonathan Brooks, you couldn't say him. That's crazy.
All right, 2023, the Bears. Goodness. A&M. 2023 Dolphins. How about this? That's Devon Achane. I know that.
Yeah, that's it. One of those Bengals won.
Is Joe Mixon?
Smaj Marine. I don't know which one.
P. Ryan?
Yeah, P. Ryan. However the hell you say his last name.
One of them went to Florida. I think. There we go.
Hey. The Cowboys one's got to be DeMarco Murray.
Was that 2011? Got it.
Look at that.
Chiefs running back 2012. Is that Jamal Charles out of Texas?
Could be.
No, it is not. We did go to Texas though.
Who did is Dante Foreman on there? Did he go undrafted?
I don't know.
Didn't he go to Texas?
I could not tell you. Dude, this 2023 stuff right here. Who was the rookie running back on the Bears last year? Was it
Last year you had Fields and they had Williams. Is it Williams? Khalil
Herbert?
Was he a rookie last year? No. Was he?
No.
Uh
Goodness. For those listening on podcast, I'm so sorry. You can skip on. Goodness. But everybody watching on YouTube has got to be entertained right now. And we are leaving out some big squares. 2022. All right. This is A&M.
I'd say to get out the yes, Dante Foreman.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he went to Texas.
This one. Oh,
Yeah.
we can't see it.
Let's go.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Dude, when did Joe Mixon get drafted? Like, it cannot have been that long ago.
2021.
Yes, there we go. I'm not
There you
stupid.
go.
Dang, the Bengals love drafting running backs out of these schools. Dude, no. Who was the running back for the Giants last year? Is Isaiah Spiller? Did Isaiah Spiller get drafted? Is he even considered a running back? I don't know.
Yeah.
There we go.
Good
Okay.
stuff. 20
Dude, these 2023s are pissing me off. Khalil Herbert, like, dude, who was their other running back last year? I cannot think.
I just feel like it's Foreman and Herbert, but Foreman was on the Panthers. Was he on the Panthers? I don't know where he was at last year. I don't know if one year he was on the Panthers, one year he was on.
It's not Khalil Herbert. That's a strike. 2021 out of the Patriots. Oh, God. Is this?
Where'd Ramondre Stevenson go to school?
No, that's not it. I didn't guess Ramondre Stevenson, but
Where'd he go to college?
I could not tell you. Dude, we suck.
Yeah, we do.
How about Eric Gray? I think he's the Giant.
There you go.
2023 Bears. I want to die on that hill. Or 2021 Patriots. But dude, the thing is, like, the only relevant team during this time was Oklahoma. Like, Texas didn't become relevant until last year. Oh my goodness.
2012 Chiefs. Who was?
All right, so 2021 Patriots, 2023 Bears, 2019 Texans. Dude, I'm lost.
Where did how old is Damian Pierce? Where did he go to school?
Alabama? Wasn't some Damian Pierce? You talking about the one on the Patriot? Are you trying to get the Patriot?
No, the Texan.
Oh, I have no idea. But how long has he been there? Like, that's the team they were drafted by.
I think he was drafted. I think he was drafted by him, but I don't know if it's that early. I don't know how old that guy is. I can't get Damian Pierce and Ramondre off my mind. Those are my
Ramondre Stevenson, are you dying on that hill?
Yeah, I guess I'll die on it because I have no clue where he went to school. Bang! Come on.
Still in it. Dude, where did Chris Carson go to school? Did he go to Oklahoma?
What about Seahawk running back?
That's what I'm saying. Is it Chris Carson?
No clue.
"2023 Bears." We're close.
I low-key want to try Damian Pierce, but I don't want to be the one that ends it.
Well, you're dying on that hill. Or did Damian Pierce go to Florida?
No
I felt
clue.
like all right.
Damn it.
Roshan Johnson. Rodney Anderson was drafted. I did not know that. That guy tore up Georgia in the first half of the Rose Bowl. Travion Williams. Dude, I'm not even mad. Cyrus.
No, we did good for sure.
Yeah. No. Okay. All right. That does it for 1st and 10. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Missed out on a few lower tier names, but I'm overall not disappointed in it. But Jake, I know you've been waiting a second for this one. For those who don't know, NFL finished up week 1 last night with Niners Jets, and this is podcast 129, fastest 2 minutes.
Rapid reactions of week 1. Here we go. We start out in Kansas City on Thursday Night Football. The Chiefs got away with a lucky one, 27-20. I no doubt Kansas City is still the team to beat in the NFL without a doubt. Xavier Worthy stood out to me as another option for Mahomes. He had 2 touchdowns, only had 2 catches, 47 yards, but he had a jet sweep that was one of those touchdowns, and he showed his explosiveness in the open field. I loved how he followed his blockers on this play. If you go back and watch this play, very textbook following your blockers play. Lamar, he looks scary, shifty as ever. I know he lost some weight in the offseason. Still want to see him develop as a passer a little bit more. This Ravens team, they're not going anywhere. We moved to Friday night in Brazil. I hate it for Jordan Love going down so early, man. That really sucks. I think we were both pretty high on him. Both new running backs are going to be good for their respective teams. You got Josh Jacobs on the Packers and Saquon on Philadelphia. They're going to be very good options for both teams if they can stay healthy. 2 solid teams in the NFC for sure. Sunday, we start out with our home team, the Falcons, taking on the Steelers. Obviously lost that game. I think Steelers kicker, his name is Boswell or whatever. Won the game for him.
He's good.
Chris Boswell. TJ Watt, he's the front runner after week 1 for defensive player of the year after that performance. He dominated Atlanta's offensive line, just single-handedly destroyed them. George Pickens, he's a playmaker, and he just keeps getting better and better each year. I think this is year 3 for him. Atlanta defense played great overall. The biggest problem I noticed, and I think everybody's talking about it this week, is the offensive line couldn't protect Kirk. Kirk can only roll if you keep him protected and he has time, and he had no time. We'll move on from that one. Then you go to Buffalo. They got to win 34-28 over Arizona. Kyler Murray's back in the mix. Arizona might be a little sleeper team in the NFC with Kyler fully healthy. And Marvin Harrison Jr. only had 1 catch. Going to be excited to get him going. This Bills –
they're going to be a fun team, just a fun team to watch.
Fun team.
Might not win a lot of games, but every time they're on the TV, they're going to be doing some fun stuff.
I agree. They got some playmakers: James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. Bills defense. I feel like Sean McDermott's Bills defense. Every so often, when they play the teams lower caliber teams, their defense just slips up and they have sloppy games. So I don't think it's a lot. I think you take this game with a grain of salt defensively, giving up 28 points. I'm excited to watch Keon Coleman develop into one of Josh Allen's top options. I don't think they have that number 1 guy right now, and I think he led the team in receiving. Going to
shout out Maserati Marv, 1 point on fantasy for me this week. Thanks, man.
Going to Chicago, Caleb Williams' first start.
Yes.
All I have down and what I think about this is I think Will Levis is going to turn into the Tennessee version of DoorDash and Desmond Ridder very quickly. That guy is not good. Titans should have won that game, but he threw it away for him late. Moving on, Patriots in Cincinnati. This, Hunter, I freaking told you. I told you. That's embarrassing performance. Embarrassing for them to lose week 1 at home, and then you got to go to Kansas City next week. Not looking good for Cincinnati early.
Bro, it's how you gonna tell me you told me when they've played one game? Joe Burrow always sucks.
The Patriots.
Okay. It's the NFL too. This isn't college football where Northern Illinois loses to or beats Notre Dame. Like, hey,
The
if I can
Patriots
tone it down and you get back to me in week 12. Keep going.
Okay. I'll keep going. Colts and the Texans final score here. Texans win 29-27 in Indianapolis. Both of these quarterbacks, if they're healthy, they're going to be so much fun to watch over the next couple of years. Both very electric with the way they can throw the ball, move. It's going to be awesome. Stephon Diggs, I have him on both of my fantasy teams, and he had 2 touchdowns. It's going to be fun to watch him with Stroud this year. New setting for him. It's weird not seeing him in a Bills uniform with Josh Allen. Moving on, Dolphins and Jaguars. I had Jacksonville in this game. That was like my best bet of the NFL week. They barely covered. Dolphins win by a field goal. Tyreek Hill with the Scotty Scheffler game, as I like to call it. I watched a good bit of this game. I like Jacksonville. I like Trevor Lawrence. Tank Bigsby led the team in rushing. He's a hard rusher. I was a fan of him in Auburn, probably just because of his name. 2 solid teams in the AFC. Saints, Panthers. Damn it, Bryce Young. I mean, I did not expect this. We were both. If you when the NFL preview comes out and you hear it, you'll hear that we're all over the Panthers. Not to win a lot of games, just to be a surprise team, a fun team. Well, they were not fun on Sunday. They made Derek Carr look like prime Brady. It was insane. Vikings, Giants. This is the shit bowl. I knew the Giants were cooked when I saw those damn uniforms. Raiders, Chargers. The UGA game. You had 3 UGA guys stuck out in this one. Zamir White. Zeus, leading rusher for the Raiders. I think he's going to have a good year. Anytime touchdown score option all year for him, I think. So when they get in the red zone, they're going to feed him. Lad McConkey with a touchdown. Brock Bowers had six catches, 58 yards, and I think he had 8 or 9 targets, which that looks good if you're a fantasy owner of Brock Bowers. Another 2 sneaky solid teams in the AFC. But
shout out J.K. Dobbins. That guy. Yeah. How about Jim Harbaugh having Ohio State horse back there in his backfield? That's a little bit of irony there. That guy, he ran the ball good for the Chargers, and they're going to run the ball a lot. They're just the NFL version of Michigan from last year. Yeah. I'm interested to see how that pans out for Harbaugh. But shout out to him for getting a first win.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Harbaugh. But the thing about the Raiders and the Chargers is as long as Patrick Mahomes is quarterback for Kansas City Chiefs, neither of them are going to win that division. Moving on to the Seattle Seahawks and Denver. Seattle wins it 26-20 with how Bo Nix played, and the fact they only lost by 6 points, kind of crazy. I'm a firm believer that Bo Nix is going to be somewhat of a decent quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying elite, but I think he's going to be decent. Kenneth Walker's a tank. I have him on my fantasy. I think he had 20 carries for like 110 and a touchdown or something. Cowboys and Browns. How about them Cowboys? This is the most week 1 Dallas Cowboy win ever. Fearful defense. The offense was rolling. We'll talk more about the Cowboys when we get to like week 16 and the offense just falls apart. Poor Deshaun Watson, man. If you watch any of this game, he got smoked the entire game. I mean, that they were in his face the whole game. I felt bad. The Browns need Chubb back quickly.
Shout out Jerome Ford cashing the 6 man. All I got. Dallas looked great, and Deshaun Watson. Let's put Jameis in. I'm tired of it. Let me see Jameis.
Yeah, Commanders, Bucks in Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers put up a lot of points, 37-20. I take away from this game, Jaden Daniels stays healthy. This guy, I mean, I think after week 1, the front runner for offensive rookie of the year. I mean, I know it's early, but he's got to be able to get down and keep away from getting injured. But I think he had like almost 100 yards, threw the ball okay. But my thing about this, don't let the Bucs fool you. Washington's defense is non-existent. But shout out Baker Mayfield. Put up very good numbers. But I don't think this Bucs team is what they showed in week 1 against the brand new Commanders team. Good for them, though. Then we move to Sunday Night Football. A great Sunday Night Football game. Los Angeles Rams, Stafford returns to Detroit. I think I talked about this in the NFL preview. I'm not really sold on Dan Campbell yet. I don't know what it is. I love the guy as a person, but as a coach, I just don't trust him. Rams had the game won. They should have won. Both of these teams, they're going to be really good in the NFC. I think the Rams are a big sleeper team. If you want to dabble a little on them to even just make the NFC Championship, you can probably get plus money there. Monday Night Football last night, last game of Week 1. I think it was the most anticipated game outside of the Chiefs and Ravens on Thursday night. But it's fun early on. I watched this game. It was poker night with my friends. We watched it. A-Rod came out. I mean, he looked relaxed. I mean, obviously the first drive they had the fumble, but after that, he looked relaxed, throwing the ball good. I think the 49ers, they just have more guys. The O-line, obviously, I don't think it matters. McCaffrey's an amazing talent, but I don't think it matters who's back there with the offensive line. Shanahan knows how to get a running back going, and that showed last night with Jordan Mason. Breece Hall, I think him and Garrett Wilson are bound for breakout seasons as long as A-Rod stays healthy, because he's going to throw to both of those guys. He fed them last night. So in this Jets team, I still think they're going to be really good. The San Fran's just on a different level from a lot of teams in the NFL. So that is Week 1 rapid reactions for the NFL.
Great job. Proud of you, dude. Good job. So that's enough for the NFL for this, and totally got a little extra NFL. But it's time to talk some Week 3 college football. First up, we're going to take you to Madison, Wisconsin for big noon kickoff. The Alabama Crimson Tide travel up to Wisconsin to take on Luke Fickell and the Badgers, who have not looked the best through 2 weeks. And Bama is a 15.5-point favorite at the making of this video. I would not be surprised if this went up to about 17. Milroe get it going. They look good against Western Kentucky. They look terrible for about 3.5 quarters against USF, and then turned it on at the end. It's going to be interesting to see. I've heard the offensive line might have a few question marks. Wisconsin, usually a tough defense to play against historically. Offensively, they got Tyler Van Dyke playing quarterback, so that's already a disadvantage for him, if you ask me. Going to be very interesting to see how this goes. Jake, I'll let you kind of dive into it.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've looked at this game in the offseason. It's interesting because we don't see this kind of matchup often, especially with it being Alabama. But like you said, having Tyler Van Dyke, that's already a disadvantage, and it's shown through the first 2 weeks. Their offense is atrocious as it is right now. 28 points against Western Michigan, and 15 of those came in the fourth quarter. 27 points against South Dakota. And note that both of these games were at home, and you struggled to score 30 points in both of them against those type of teams. Now they're stepping up to the highest, I guess, classification of a defense compared to what they've faced. So I'd be surprised if they reach 14 points in this game. I really do. I don't see a world where they can score 3 touchdowns. I really don't. Defensively, Wisconsin held, and like you said, they're historically a defense that's tough to face. They held Western Michigan and South Dakota to 165 passing yards combined, and Milroe struggled last week. So I think the game plan for Wisconsin, in my mind, would be put pressure on Milroe, make him uncomfortable, and get a few takeaways. Put yourself – you know that your offense isn't good. I think takeaways is a big thing, because if you can get yourself in a few short field scenarios early, that'll be huge to stay in this game at least. For Bama, I think it's a really good opportunity to show the country, hey, we're here and we're really good. I think they really need to come out and make a statement early because you've struggled. I mean, obviously last week they struggled, and the scoreboard didn't really reflect how that game went. Excuse me. I want to see a dominant defensive performance from them, and I think you're going to be able to see that with just how bad Wisconsin's offense is. And have you seen true freshman Ryan Williams?
The 17-year-old stud, the best player on their team.
Stud. He had 2 catches for 139 yards with 2 touchdowns against Western Kentucky, and then 4 catches last week for 68 yards and a touchdown. So he's already off to a great start. And like I talked about, Wisconsin's secondary is definitely the strong suit of that defense. So I want to see him take another step. Let's see if Milroe can get him the ball. That'll be fun to see. As far as overall view of the game, I like Bama to cover the number. I don't think it'll take much for them to do. I mean, 17 points. So considering how bad Wisconsin's offense is shown to be, I don't think – I mean, how bad their defense – sorry. How bad their offense is, I can't see Wisconsin scoring a lot of points here. And Bama, I think they should be able to score some points. So I have Bama 27-10.
What's the number? Tell me the number Bama's got to get to.
I won't say 17. I'll say 20 points.
Okay, I like that. I was thinking around 17, 20 as well.
Yeah.
So after that great breakdown, I kind of want to hammer the under in this game. It's sitting at 50.5. I mean,
yeah.
What is the final score going to be 40-20 or 40-10? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Yeah.
I feel like both of these teams are going to be developing into run heavy. Like, this is the toughest defense Bama's faced yet. I don't know off the top of my head, like, how good this Wisconsin back half is going to be. We know that Milroe's shown some question marks through last year on throwing the ball, especially medium passes and downfield accuracy. Is he going to overthrow them? He usually throws a beautiful deep ball. I don't know. Under might be the play in this game. I'm rolling with the Tide as well. And if I had to lean to cover, I don't know. It's a weird game going to Wisconsin. I don't think Bama's going to have to score that many points. I think both of these teams are just going to try and chew clock and establish a run game. So I don't know. I guess I'll lean Wisconsin plus 15.5, but not confident on it. Probably not betting on the spread in this game, but under is something to take a look at. All right.
I agree with you.
Next, we got – where is it? Oh, goodness. LSU taking on the South Carolina Gamecocks. LSU opens up a 7.5-point favorite. Game day going to South Carolina for the first time in about 10 to 12 years. That's pretty exciting. We talked about it in the week 2 recap when we were discussing Kentucky, Carolina. If the Carolina defensive line is that good, I don't care who they're playing. That's tough. That defensive line looks sick. But I'm not sure if that's just Kentucky's offensive line being a little suspect, I should say. If they can get Nussmeier uncomfortable, I'm interested to see what he does on the road. First road start. They ironically did not look the best against Nicholls State last week. So they are favored by 7.5 on the road. I think Vegas has seen this as probably LSU's 10 points better, given Carolina 3 for playing at home. I mean, that place is going to be rocking in Columbia. You never know what's going to happen on a college football Saturday, so I'll let you dive into it and I'll finish you off.
Yeah, no, I think you made a good point about their defensive line. Dylan Stewart, the true freshman edge rusher, I was watching some of his highlights from the game on Saturday against Kentucky. We're going to see a lot of him in the next few years. I think he's one of the best. I mean, his get off, if you watch, there's a clip where he he forces a sack. I don't think he got credited for the sack, but his get off, I saw it on TikTok. It is insane. He looks very good, true freshman. Like you said, if they can get Nussmeier uncomfortable his first road start, might have a chance. But Nussmeier's looked great so far. I mean, the first 2 weeks, I mean, he's thrown for 610 yards, 8 touchdowns, and only has 1 interception. I know one of those against USC, and then, like you said, Nicholls. When we're talking about South Carolina's offense a little bit more, Lenore Sellers, he's kind of been decent. I mean, I would say he's gone for 166 and 114 yards through the first 2 weeks. So he hadn't really been put in a uncomfortable situation as a passer, I don't necessarily think. I think they've been able to lean on the run game a little bit, and then that Kentucky game was kind of over early, especially with the quarterback situation there. I think in this game we could see him throw the ball north of like 25 to 30 times against that LSU secondary, because we saw in week 1 Miller Moss threw for almost 400 yards against LSU secondary. So that's their weak spot. So I'm interested to see if Lenore Sellers can show himself a little bit more as a passer. So, yeah, I think that's LSU. But if I'm LSU, that's what I want to do. I don't want to let Rocket Sanders get going. Force Sellers to throw, and let's see if he can survive in a 30-attempt passing game and be effective. So I like South Carolina plus 3.5 in the first half. I think that's a good spot. I think it's going to be rocking in Columbia. But I think LSU I think they're the better team, better coach, better quarterback, better all around. Maybe not on the defensive line, but so I like them to LSU cover late, but South Carolina first half spread is a good spot. And I think Kyron Lacey might go for like $1.50 in this game. I think his line's at like 70.5, 75.5. Give me Kyron Lacey to go over 100 receiving yards total. LSU 34, South Carolina 24.
All right, not bad, not bad. I definitely could see Lacey breaking off. Like I don't know. We haven't had the best baseline for South Carolina. Like LSU had a really good baseline against USC, so I'm interested to see. LSU is going to probably be the best offensive line South Carolina plays all year. So that matchup up front is going to be interesting. I'm also interested to see if LSU's front seven can step up, because if they can't and Rocket Sanders gets going, South Carolina's got a chance. I just feel like there's too much. I just feel like there's too much that South Carolina is going to have to do. Like that's like they need too much to fall their way for me to pick the upset in this game. So I am going to roll with LSU, but line at 7.5. I don't know. I guess I'll take LSU to cover late.
And I think you made a good point about LSU's front seven being able to stop the run, because Beamer's going to feed Rocket Sanders. You saw it week 1. I think he had 24 carries, something like that. And then last week, I think he had 16 to 17. He's going to feed him, especially if he's going, especially in this game. And we haven't seen Sellers, take over a game yet. So, and I don't think the idea is to do it week 1 of conference play against the number 16 team in the country. So, that's an interesting matchup, that run game against LSU's front seven, for sure.
Yes, sir. I'll take LSU. Lean LSU. Probably not going to bet on that one either. Next up, man, it's everybody's favorite person to talk about in the state of Florida, DJ Lagway. Oh my gosh, Jake, did you know that he went off against Samford? Did you know that? Have you seen that anywhere on social media? Like that this guy's the truth?
More than I would like to have seen it.
Personally, like I just been all over the place. Yeah, glad he can do that against Samford, because probably going to be the only time he puts up any numbers close to that.
Yeah.
This Texas A&M defensive front is going to eat this man alive. I'm not sold on Florida's offensive line. I'm sold on Texas A&M's defensive line. I think they are still a really good unit. Connor Wegman had a confidence-boosting game last week. Not sold on him, not buying any stock in him, but he had a confidence-building game, and that's much needed whenever you have a week 1 struggle like he did. And I don't know. I like A&M in this game. I think the pressure's going to get the Lagway. This is like his first real test. I mean, he played a Samford team that lost a first-year D1 opponent, West Georgia. So shout out to West Georgia and Carrollton. But, I'm not sold on him. What do you got?
You make a lot of good points. I think defensively for A&M, they're going to blow up Lagway. I mean, if I'm a Florida fan, I'm excited to see him early on. And I think I said it in the SEC preview. If I'm a Florida fan, I want to see him as early as possible going into this year. But not a good matchup for your first SEC start. I mean, if it was a Kentucky or an Arkansas or South Carolina, maybe talking a little bit differently. But A&M, I mean, I think they're going to eat them up. A weird spot for both teams to me. Florida, obviously, they got whooped in week 1. Didn't have to get up last week, like you said, against Samford. Now you open up SEC play in the Swamp against, do we call them questionable A&M team? I mean, defensively, I don't think there's any question marks right now, but the reason I do say they're questionable is the quarterback position, Connor Wegman. We'll see how he plays on the road in a big game to start out, open up SEC play. Something to me too, I noted was Miami against Florida week 1. They did their damage to Florida through the air, right? Cam Ward had 385 passing yards. So if Connor Wegman's forced to throw, can he do it in an environment like that? We shall see. But I think that's going to be the mindset for Florida. Let's let this guy beat us. And if he does, then damn, so be it. Don't let Le'Veon Moss get going. I like that guy a lot. He's really good in college football 25. I something for Florida's offense. Like you said, DJ Lagway's first SEC start, not favorable, but I want to see them feed Eugene Wilson. I don't think he has been involved enough. I know he has like 5 catches in each game, but in a game like this, let Lagway get going early. Few easy passes. Don't try to take any dumb shots early. Quick reads, stuff like that. I think A&M wins the game in a low-scoring physical battle. This is going to be a dirty football game, in my opinion. I think the number here for Texas A&M, Hunter, is like 10 for A&M.
10.
It's like 10.
I'm gonna
I wrote down 20-10 final score, but I think they could win the game 10-7. I really do.
I'm gonna go with. I mean, mine's not much higher. I had it between 13 and 17. Like, I don't think they're gonna have to score that many points. And if they do get into a shootout, Florida secondary is just sus. But I also don't. I don't see a world where the A&M defense allows this guy to throw all over him. But I will say, Billy Napier, I mean, we said it over and over. Like, this guy's coaching for his job every single week. And after you get embarrassed by Miami at home, this is probably like the second most important game, because every game after this, if you get blown out in this game, like, your team's done.
Yeah.
So that factor alone is letting me, it makes me want to lean Florida, but I can't. Like, Florida plus the points, but after what they did week 1, like, I gotta see it. And I gotta see Lagway.
Yeah, you gotta see it.
I gotta see Lagway do it against a competent team, and much less a very talented Texas A&M defense. So give me A&M, lay the 4.5, and I think we got a little bit more on that in a little bit. But next up, these were we'll run through these a little bit quicker. These were 3 games that are – 2 of them are ranked matchups, ironically, and then the other one is somebody's going to have boots on the ground. So he'll get to talk about that. First up, we got Boston College taking on Missouri. Missouri right now sitting at 17 points as a favorite in Columbia. I like Missouri a lot. I'm pretty sure they're the only team in the country that has shut out their opponent both games. Now, granted, they have been both very bad opponents. One Murray State, the other one Buffalo. But still, you shut out 2 opponents. I think that's still impressive. I don't care who you're playing against. And Brady Cook had 2 confidence-building games, and you have the best player on the field by far in Luther Burden. I think Boston College, they had their fun at Florida State. I think we all know the truth on Florida State. And I think Missouri might be like the biggest hidden gem in the country right now. So I got more on them in a little bit, but I like Missouri in this game.
Yeah, no, I like that. This is one of those this week, Hunter, where we're going to be on the exact opposite. I think this is a game that I think 17 is way too much for Boston College, especially if a lot of money comes in on them. I don't care if the money does come in on them, or if it's at Missouri, I don't care. After watching the Florida State game, and I know it was Florida State and what they've been, but the way they just out-physicaled and manhandled and ran right down their throat, I don't see how they can't do that in Missouri. I'm not sold on Missouri yet. I'm not sold on Brady Cook yet, as I used to call him, Jared Cook. We'll see. I would force him to throw. Obviously, you got to cover the best player on the field, Luther Burden, but I think 17 is a number they can cover, especially late. So we'll see.
All right. Well, next up, this is the Friday night game we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Number 20, Arizona, traveling to number 14, Kansas State. Friday night, 8 p.m. on Fox. Going to be a fun game to watch. I think both these teams have struggled to start the season. Arizona played a New Mexico team that lost to Montana State, and their defense looked worse than my Georgia Southern Eagles. Like, it was bad. They still won because they got Noah Fafita and Teteroa McMillan, but still, he needed to drop 300 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns to get the win. So, and then the offense last week did not look good against an FCS opponent. So they got a lot of question marks. I know they got first-year head coach Brett Brennan over there. You lose Jed Fish. You lose a few key guys on defense up to Washington. So interested to see how this kind of pans out for the Wildcats. The Arizona Wildcats are both Wildcats in this game. And then you got Avery Johnson on the other side, who everybody was, especially Big 12 people, just glazing up in the offseason. And this offense has not looked the best through 2 weeks. And I think a huge part of that is that they lost Colin Klein to Texas A&M. I think that might be a huge reason why. And every week Utah's kind of separating themselves from the rest of the pack. And it's kind of scary to see that, because I thought Kansas State was going to be like that number 2 team and be right there in the mix. And they still can be. And I know it's only been 2 weeks of ball, but a lot of question marks for both of these teams. Kansas State is favored right now by 7.5, opened up at 6.5, so a lot of money coming in over there. I don't really have a side in this game. I kind of like the over because both defenses have looked a little suspect, but I don't know what you have to add on this game, but go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I think the over. I think that could be both defenses are kind of sus. Both teams have question marks, and Avery Johnson's still a quarterback that has to prove himself. In the past 2 weeks, they've just leaned on DJ Giddens. I mean, he's gone for 100 yards in both games, and then I watched the Tulane game on Saturday. I think he was their leading receiver, so we still got to see him throw the football. And their Kansas State secondary, the Tulane quarterback, he threw for 342 yards on only 29 pass attempts. That's a concern, especially with Noah Fafita. I like Arizona to cover the number, and I don't mind maybe sprinkle a little bit on them to win outright. I have Kansas State as one of my disappointing teams in the Big 12, so I'm going to stand on that. I'll take Arizona to cover.
I don't hate it. I could see this one going either way on the spread, so probably a stay away spot for yours truly. However, one game I did not put on the graphic, so I'm about to go full screen here. We're going to talk a little bit of Oklahoma Tulane. Jake just talked about the Green Wave. They played Kansas State in a game that was very close to about 3.5 quarters. A late turnover and a touchdown by Kansas State seals the deal. I know it was on the road at Yulman Stadium right outside of New Orleans. This week, Tulane's got to travel to Norman to play Oklahoma. Oklahoma looked a little slow last week. They looked good week 1. I know they played Temple. Interested to see. I mean, they only beat Houston 16-12. Houston got beat by UNLV, got their asses beat by UNLV week 1. I'm interested to see how this one goes. Do you have the line in front of you by chance? Is it 14?
It's two touchdowns, 14.
And Tulane's looked a lot more impressive than Oklahoma through 2 weeks. I'm interested to see how this one goes. I know you want to talk about it a little bit, so go ahead.
Yeah, I think Tulane's just one of those fun teams in college football this year. You saw it last week, almost beating Kansas State at home. It's tough to turn around and go to Norman and play Oklahoma. I mean, 14's a lot, but I think it's one of those. I'm not sold on Oklahoma yet. I think they're just sloppy. I don't think Brett Venables is that great of a coach. We'll see. And I think it's a little bit of a look ahead spot because if I'm not wrong, I think they open up SEC play next week. Yeah, that's correct. They got Tennessee. After this, they got Tennessee. Then they go to Auburn and Texas coming up the next 3 weeks. So could be a little bit of a look ahead spot here for Oklahoma, but this is a stay away spot for me. I really like Tulane though. I say look away spot. I really like Tulane to cover. I really do. We'll see. This should be a fun game.
Maybe just a little sprinkle on that Tulane money line at plus.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. And there's not a bye week either going into Tennessee next week. So they got their workload waiting on them. So we'll see.
All right. Good deal, brother. Well, that's what we got for individual games for week 3 preview. So now it's time to talk some best bets. And, well, Jake and I are on complete opposite sides for my first one. I'm laying the juice with Mizzou. I actually bought it down to 15.5. I like Mizzou to just beat them like a Cherokee drum this week. I'm very high on them after 2 weeks, and I'm not sold on Boston College yet. I think, we saw what happened to Georgia Tech after coming off a monster win against Florida State. I don't know. I like Mizzou. I like the SEC over the ACC in this situation. I'm going to lay all 15.5 with the Tigers.
Yeah, good pick. I probably won't bet it because I don't like betting against my friends. So I'm with you on Mizzou, I guess. My first pick, I got a little tease action. Oregon, little rivalry game against Oregon State. I know Oregon struggled the past 2 weeks, and this is a team I feel like we haven't talked about a lot, but I'm not sold that Dan Lanning's team and the guys that they have around Dylan Gabriel are just not a good football team. So I'm going to bank on them to get a little bounce back week here. I think the spread 16, bringing it down to 9.5, 2 scores against Oregon State, who lost a lot last year, which, DJU, I wouldn't say that's losing a lot. But And then over 43.5, Oregon can score. And if they're going to break out and win by 2 scores in a game, I think it's going to be this weekend at rivalry week. So give me Oregon minus 9.5 and the over 43.5 points.
I like it. I might get on that one with you, even though I've laid the wood with Oregon the past 2 weeks and they have done nothing but screw me. So we'll see.
Yeah, I hate it, but eventually Oregon's going to have a breakthrough. They're a good football team for sure.
I agree. All right, next up, I got a teaser as well. Got Texas State +9. Right now they are a 2-point dog at home. They got Arizona State traveling to their home field. I wish I knew the college off the top of my head. I'm usually pretty solid at that, but I ain't got it. Anyways, Texas State, probably the best team in the Sun Belt right now. They got Jordan McLeod, JMU transfer, last week playing in-state rival UTSA, who has over the past few years been a very highly touted Group of 5 school, and they beat them like a Cherokee drum. They were winning 35-0 or 35-3 at halftime, like it was nothing. McLeod, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns. I like the Bobcats a lot. They got Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State traveling in. I'm not sold on Arizona State. If you watch the college football playoff preview we had, the futures bet at the end, even though Arizona State's already got 2 wins, I can only afford about 3 more for them to hit the over, so I really need them to drop this one to Texas State. But this line only being at 2, I mean, Arizona State was favored by more against Mississippi State, the SEC school, than they are the Sun Belt school. So shout out Sun Belt supremacy. Even if Arizona State wins, I think it's going to be close, and I don't see it getting out of hand at Texas State. Next up on the second half of the tease, we got Colorado State. Wow, 2 G5 teams on the teaser for me this week. I'm really digging in the ditches here. So Jake, can you tell me who Colorado State plays this week, please? Or do you not know?
Colorado.
Oh, yeah. They play the Buffs. We saw this game play out last year, a double overtime game. I'm not saying it's going to be identical. That total's a little lower. I really kind of wanted to take the over. However, I ended up with just the alternate spread. And Colorado's got to prove it to me. I mean, they were in pretty much a one-possession game with North Dakota State the entire game in week 1. They played a competent team in Nebraska, and it took a garbage time touchdown for them to get within 18 points. I like Colorado State. I mean, this is their Super Bowl every year. It's in Fort Collins. It's not in Boulder. So they are traveling on the road. We all have the question marks about Colorado. Like I said, Super Bowl spot for Colorado State. I like the Rams +14, keeping it within 2 touchdowns against the Buffs this week.
I love it. I will definitely be on those 2 with you. I have Wake Forest and Ole Miss over 63.5. Ole Miss's first road game. Not much of a test, I would say. But big team coming to town. Maybe there'll be a good little crowd at Wake Forest, but they're terrible. They played NCAT, I guess that's North Carolina, A&T week 1. Won the game 45-13, gave up 13 points, and then lost to Virginia last week, which is pitiful, 31-30. So the defense is terrible, showing they can put up a little bit of points. I'm not sold on Ole Miss's defense yet. Yeah, I know they got a lot of transfers, but that's one of those things that I have to see. And then obviously Ole Miss, that offense, I think it's going to travel. 52 points in this past week, 76 in week 1. I see it. I think they can. I think Wake Forest. It all comes down to if Wake Forest can score. And I think in the second half, once they're down by 40, 50 points, they're going to be able to score a little bit once Ole Miss takes their guys out, especially getting closer to SEC play. So I look at like a 57-10, 14 game. So give me the over in Wake Forest, Ole Miss.
Don't hate it. And I'm on the Ole Miss spread this week, -24. I mean, this team they've played 2 bad teams, and they've beat them both like a Cherokee drum. I love Jackson Dart. This guy's putting up numbers. He is playing really good ball. He's had 2 confidence-building games, and I think this honestly is going to be a third before his toughest test of the season next week in week 4 when he has Georgia Southern Eagles come to town. So, no, I'm just kidding. But I like Ole Miss. I'm going to lay the wood on them, -24. I think they're going to blow the doors off of Wake Forest. I don't think they have much of a home field advantage in Winston-Salem. They're a baseball school, not a football school. Didn't you say they lost to Virginia last week?
Yeah.
yeah, Virginia sucks. So Wake Forest sucks. And I love the Rebels in this spot. I think they can easily take care of business by about 3.5 possessions. So I'll lay all 24 with the Rebs this week.
Love it. So I have West Virginia money line. They are on the road at Pittsburgh. I think they're favored by 2.5, and I played it safe. I feel like this is one of those games where it could be like 30-29 or something. But I know I was on Pitt last week, pick of the week last week. I mean, can we talk about that again? Just how beautiful of a ride that was with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. But Pittsburgh last week, they gave up. This was the biggest. And West Virginia is one of those teams that we've obviously talked about a lot on this podcast, well, at least in the preview, and kind of high on them. And a lot of people were coming in this season. But last week, Pittsburgh gave up 150 yards. Or their Cincinnati's running back, I should say, had 20 carries, 150 yards. And what does West Virginia like to do? Run the football. So I like both backs to go for 75 yards this week. Run it down the throat. Low-scoring game just because both teams are going to keep it on the ground. Give me the Mountaineers to get a win at Pittsburgh.
Well, backyard brawl action going on over here. I like that. That's one of those games, man, where it's like flip a coin because it doesn't matter what the two teams' records are. Like these two teams hate each other with a passion, and it does not matter who's good and who's bad in what season. Anybody can win that one, but I do lean West Virginia with you, especially after that fluke win Pitt had last week.
Yeah.
3-leg parlay. Yep, sorry about the graphic, but we got UCF money line, A&M money line, Vandy money line. We're trying not to get too fancy. We're 0 for 2. We need to see one go through the hoop. Plus 243, so you can double your money and then some. UCF is traveling. They're traveling to Fort Worth this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they're on the road at TCU, but give us KJ Jefferson and Gus Malzahn to get it done. You got A&M money line. We talked about them. We think they're going to take care of business against Florida. We're just going to have to see it from Florida to believe it. So we like A&M in this spot. And then, man, the 2-week national champion Vanderbilt Commodores, they're playing Georgia State. Dude, Diego Pavia is a dog. I love that guy. He is sick to watch. And they play Georgia State, one of my hatred rivals down here at Georgia Southern. And we like Vandy to win the game.
Yeah, I would like to throw out there right now that I have picked and told people that I think Vanderbilt this year is going to be one of those teams that they're not going to win. I'm not saying they're going to win 7 games. I'm not. They're probably going to win 4. But they're fun, right? Diego Pavia, they got a quarterback. Clark Lee's got another year. They're going to cover every spread. Bank on it. They are going to be 10-2 against the spread at the end of the year. I'm on them I think the spread's 10.5. Give me the Commodores. Just definitely outright. My luck, they're probably going to lose, but I think Vandy's just a fun team. I'm so excited for them.
It'd be such a Vandy thing to lose this game.
Yeah, it would.
It'd be the most Vandy thing to lose this game, but we're going to ride with them. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we got the 2-man. All right. Last week, both got tripped up on the 2-man. I think they were both good reads. Not going to, beat myself up too much about it. But here we are. We got Caleb Williams over half a passing yard again. How about that? 2 weeks in a row. I'll take that any day of the week. And then we both like James Cook on Thursday Night Football to get in the end zone. They're playing the Dolphins. I think James Cook, he was due last week. Didn't quite get it done. He didn't get in the end zone, I should say, rather. I think this week he's due to get in the end zone. So shout out to James Cook and Caleb Williams, and hopefully we can get back on track with the 2-man.
Yeah, for sure. I love this play a lot. James Cook, like Hunter said, didn't get in the end zone last week. But Miami, they played they've always kind of had a bad rush defense. Last week, Bigsby and ETN, I think they combined for over 150 yards on the ground. So I like him. Fantasy score, rush yards. They're going to get him involved in the passing game too. So James Cook to get in the end zone. Love it.
All right. And that will do it for our Week 3 preview and for college football and a Week 1 recap for the NFL. We greatly appreciate each and all of our listeners. I'll let Jake close us out. Thank you guys as always, and God first and God bless.
Yeah, good stuff. As always, when these videos come out, we appreciate you going. subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on socials. You got X, you got Instagram, and you got TikTok. Be on the lookout for TikTok. I know a few of my friends have reached out to me or people I've seen this weekend. Like, oh, I saw you pop up on my For You page. We love that stuff. If you do see us pop up, give us a follow, check us out, and just be on the lookout for all of that. And that's all we got for you today. Next time we talk to you, we will be going over what unfolds in week 3 of college football and week 2 of the NFL. So that is podcast 129, episode 1.